Hi, Rick here, and welcome to another pedal preservation video. And up in the stand today we have something quite special. Reason being, I got this bike for my 21st birthday 35 years ago, and I've owned it ever since. The bike is completely original. It's never had a single component changed, and I have to say I dug it out of storage about 4 years ago. Gave it a quick service, rode absolutely perfect. Even the tires were still holding air, brakes were fine, everything was okay. Unfortunately, when I decided to store it again, I put it in some outside storage, and unfortunately the last couple of years being in that storage has taken its toll. There's quite a bit of patina now starting to appear. The tires unfortunately have now perished, and we're going to actually need to do some work to it. Originally I was thinking about going full resto mod and just doing the works on it, but I feel it's still a bit of a shame because there's still a lot of originality to this bike, albeit we are going to have to start changing some stuff like tires. And I thought maybe we'll give it a very sympathetic modernization rather than going full tilt. I'm thinking obviously new tires, possibly converting over to V-brakes, etc., possibly changing the bars. I don't know, I'll see how I feel as we move along. The original spec on this bike was actually quite good. I do remember in 1990, and that's when I got it, it was £300. So back then Raleigh bikes were actually decent, and they were actually quite expensive in today's money. And the spec is good. It's got Shimano paddle shifters. It has a proper cassette rather than cheaper freewheel cassettes. It's got LX group set on it. And overall, it's actually good. I mean, I put many miles on this bike in the 90s, the early 90s, before I stopped sort of riding everywhere and discovered that cars were probably a wee bit cooler at the time. So let's get to it and let's see where it takes us. Right, guys, you know the drill. Let's get this bad boy stripped down. Bad boy from its day, 1990. I mean, check out the colour scheme on the frame. I mean, does that not cry out the 90s? Absolutely brilliant. Ooh. I'm going to be replacing all the cables, so we can do that. And once we get this off, we'll pop this into the ultrasonic, because to be honest, when I checked it earlier, the all the shifters are really gummed up, and I'm assuming this will probably be the same. No, actually, they're actually running really smooth. Now, I do remember there being an issue with this derailleur back in the days. You see it's completely limp, but also I just don't feel it's right. But considering there's a lot of play in that, which I just find odd. I mean, it wasn't, as I say, I looked after it, maintained it, so I don't know why that is. I'm going to have to investigate, because I'm going to have to investigate the complete lack of springness. It's obviously a broken spring or something. We have these wee covers. We'll get them popped off and we can see what we're going to need. Right. Oh my. Gee whiz. 5 years. Okay, that's interesting. This is not what I was expecting. I haven't actually come across this before. Okay, so my solution is going to be, this is my regular extractor. The problem is the center pin only goes flush with the body, which does not allow me to screw that in. My other solution is, this is a cheap extractor tool that I got in a Halford's bike toolkit. It's always good, I'll be honest with you. Cannot knock that toolkit at all. However, the difference is when I fully unscrew this, it does have a recess. Now, it's also helped by, there was like a little sort of plastic pin or metal pin that used to sit in that recess, which just fell out ages ago. I had originally plugged it with a screw, but then of course it brought it flush again. So now with the recess in, it's going to allow me to be able to screw that in. But I'll be honest with you, I still wonder what is the correct tool to take this out, because it doesn't seem to be very standard. So I find that a little bit of an oddity. That feels fairly uneventful. Yep, that's come off okay. I don't have the correct tool for taking this off, so I'm afraid, easily offended, look away now. Because we're going hobo, full hobo. There we go. The whole thing seems to be wanting just to come out as a oneer. rather than the lock ring coming off first. The actual bottom bracket feels absolutely fine, by the way. So I think this is more of a, yeah, you can see that. So unfortunately the other side of the bottom bracket is stuck fast. I might have to leave that in, but having a quick inspection, considering this is a 35-year-old bottom bracket, the only sort of casualty seems to be this rubber O-ring which went on the end there. But apart from that, it's actually all clean. Yeah, back when Raleigh could make bikes, like now, it's absolute garbage now. Right, okay, so the so shifter wise, this side actually feels fine. So I think any resistance we were getting was actually on the back end. So let me just check. So that's speed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so I think we're okay that side. But this side, there's definitely something wrong because it's just all gummed up. So I think we might need to get some GT85 into there, all loosened off. Yeah, see, it's not the, whatever way it is, up or down, is not clicking back. So I don't know whether the spring is gummed up. Right, the shifter on this side is just acting funny. It's not re-releasing properly. The top paddle is just not returning like it should. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to get this off and we'll get it into the ultrasonic cleaner. Right, let's slacken off brittle. That was already slack, and we will get some IPA in under the grip. A little bit of a wiggle just to move it round, and then just, there you go, straight off, no issues, and that'll go back on the same way. Just drop that paddle. There we go. There we go, and then we'll get this into the ultrasonic and see if that'll dissolve whatever is going on in there. I mean, it's not going to do it any harm, put it that way. I'm going to take the headset off because I'm thinking if we've got stuff going into the ultrasonic, we may as well, everything that can go in. So, and having a wee feel, it feels slightly gritty. So I think there's a possibility that the head bearings are probably needing a wee whiz. There we go. This does not look good under here. I hope that's just the dust seal coming off and not some bizarre proprietary O-ring that I'm not going to be able to get. Yeah, it's plastic, but it's chowed. Yeah, and once again, I'll just take out, look at that. I mean, yeah, I think once I get it cleaned up, I'll see where it's corroded, but I'm assuming that's grease. Alright, get all this sorted out for the ultrasonic. Yeah, that's a bit nasty in there. I don't know what that is. Just like grit or something. Definitely needing a clean up. Alright, attention on the wheels. Or wheels. Skewer off and we'll get this cassette off, and that is definitely deserving of a clean. Feedback Sport tools for the win. Let's clamp that on there. Oh. Don't know if that popped out or actually moved. I think it actually moved. Oh no, it popped out. Oh, there we go. Wasn't sure whether it was popping out or it was actually slackening off. I'll be honest, I thought I looked after this bike. I clearly did not. I mean, don't get me wrong, I haven't cycled it for 35 years, but it used to live in my garage and stuff until I moved it outdoors into an outdoor storage, and it was there for a couple of years, and unfortunately that's when all the damage was done, sadly. Just rotted it real quick, and that was inside of like an outside bunker. God, look at the state of that. I mean, that actually feels not bad. So I think a sympathetic regrease is going to be the order of the day. But what we'll do prior, I'll get this in the ultrasonic cleaner. Right, we'll spritz this, spritz this down with a little clean while we're here. so we can access in behind where the cassette would be. Oh, there we go. That certainly made a big difference. Naturally, not really thinking there, but we're going to go in from this side. Let's give this side a go as well, as we'll be doing all our loosening off from here. Right, we've got our 15mm cone spanner, 17mm regular. Oh, that came off quite easy. Although not a problem, that would have been eventually. So I'm just going to take both these off. I just find it easier, and that way I can get the cone spanner off well beyond where I need. I can really get the nozzle of the grease gun in there. Right, now we can absolutely muller the inside. There we go. Now we'll screw this back in so everything doesn't fall out. Well, I know I just said it wasn't going to fall out. But why I do this is, this way the cone will be dragging the grease around and hopefully working it into the balls. So I mean, this is just my slant on it. I think there might be a little less wastage. Which is almost hilarious with the amount of grease I've now got on my fingers. I know you want to wipe off all the excess, but sometimes when I see a bike and you see elements of coloured grease, you know it's been maintained. Right, hopefully we, obviously backing this out now, we hopefully, I'm actually wondering if we're going to get this far enough out. Right, so that's, alright, I think we're going to be alright. I can see quite well in there. I'm just going to give the cone a clean. Cones all look good. And as I said, this Raleigh knew how to build bikes. See back, I don't know at what point Raleigh Nottingham closed. I've watched a few documentaries on it, on Raleigh's history, and it's just utterly amazing. And of course, it's just all gone. Nobody wants to buy a quality bike anymore. And sadly, I think it's a Dutch company that own it now. And of course, everything's just made in China. And it's just, I have built quite a few brand new Raleigh bikes now. I mean, the range is just rubbish. I just don't know where it's going. And it's really sad because it's Raleigh. Industry brand, and it's just gone. It's got no reputation whatsoever. Well, I mean, I think people still look upon Raleigh as the original Raleigh, and I can assure you it's not. And I think it's sad for me to say this, but I would literally say don't buy one, because I've actually built brand new Raleighs that we've been, you know, people have ordered online and then brought in to get done. And I mean, there was one where it was like a lady's bike, and I had to actually replace cables on it. I mean, that's how ridiculous it was. On a brand new bike, because the brakes, the back brake was so tight, it just wouldn't work. Oh, actually, I think I might have nailed that straight away. Yeah. And that's sad. It's sad. I think it's a real shame what they once were, but it's what happens to a lot of these brands. You know, I mean, I suppose one thing is, like in the UK, we've got a brand called Sports Direct, a shop, and they buy up all the old classic brands like, you know, Dunlop, Schlesinger, and then they just make all the stuff in India, and it's absolute garbage. Now for a bit of degreasing on the bearings, because these ones will definitely be good enough to go back in, as long as I can not have them fall apart. I'm actually just using normal degreaser here. Normally I would just use GT85, but I want to give them a really good clean. I'm just using the general purpose grease on here because the head bearings are not, they don't rotate at speed, so you don't need to use the high speed grease, you know, the fancy stuff. Don't need that. Just work that in. There we go. Right, that's them ready. My plan was actually to change the entire bottom bracket, but as you know, only half of the bottom bracket has come out, so I'm kind of a little bit knackered in that department. So we're going to have to, I mean, there's, to be honest, this will work absolutely fine. There's no reason to change it, but I thought I would just take the opportunity to modernise it. Oh, jeez. Ripping through the... Oh, that's a dirty one. Come on, Peaties, reach out to me. We could do a deal. We could be so happy together. I'm literally struggling for degreaser. I'll need to buy some more. I think I'm going to have to cave in. Peaties is quite good actually if you're looking for stuff like this, because they do deals quite often. Quite often I've been to like the Mountain Bike World Cup, they were there, and it was like 3 for 2. So you get 3 things, pay for 2. So you absolutely fill your boots, and that's what I did. But unfortunately, that was like a year ago, and I'm now coming to an end round a bit quicker. I mean, it could probably make absolutely no difference. I'm kidding myself. But we will use it. I mean, obviously, we'll be well and truly greasing up the hubs as well. So that's the hub I did get out, which I'm hoping will be absolutely fine. I'm hoping that's just baked in grease. A bit of lube on there. Bit of fresh towel. So I'm just trying to turn this so you can see, but it's now on impossible to get a good angle. Cup! You can see that, that's just spotless. Right, the fun part's going to be I'm going to have to clean the one that's on the bike through the bottom bracket. Can't think any other way of doing this. It's not ideal, but I'm going to have to do it. Right, I want to see the condition of the cup on the opposite side, and I can't really see, and to be honest, my eyes are not great anymore. So I've got a little endoscope camera, which I've had for a while, and I'm going to send that in, and we'll see what we can, well, see what we can see. Right, so I gave it a quick clean, but as you can see, I mean, I'm sure that's not corrosion or anything going by the other one, but I really like to get all that cleaned off because that's just old grease, but I'm struggling a little bit to get in there proper. But there you go, little handy tool. I'm sure there's other things we could use that for on the bike. I think it was about £20 off of Amazon. Right, I'm going to go in with the rag this time, see if that'll do it. Because what I don't want is I don't obviously want my screwdriver to poke through whatever I'm using to clean it and then scratch the surface. So I'm hoping, as I say, these are really good rags from Muck Off. Right, let's see if that's done the job. Oh yeah, much cleaner. Still a little bit of debris, but really nothing. I think we will go for that. That should be fine. I don't know if there's actually a focus on this or not, but yeah, they're really good. I have to say, great cups. Right, should be able to get a decent amount of grease on that end. Respect to gynecologists everywhere. So I've got the axle, it's all cleaned up. So I'm going to grease up the axle. Cannot have too much grease at this point. And pop this down. There we go. Unfortunately, I think I said that earlier, that unfortunately the seals did not survive. So there's like little rubber seals at the end, which is probably why this was in such good condition, because the seals had obviously kept the water out. Again, Raleigh, top marks. Well, top marks when you used to care. Right, okay, let's do the other end. We'll just give that a damn good squidging. I've not been able to separate these, unfortunately, so I'm hoping, I'll see how we go on. I'll put this straight back the way that it came off. If we get no play, it's a win. If it's not, I'm going to have to take it out and just figure out what I'm going to do. Remembering, guys, though, that this bike is not going to be used. Right, I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of copperies on this thread. Chances are I'll be taking it off again. This probably won't work. Right, I'll go hand tight and we'll see where we are. To be honest, that's fine. Absolutely fine. Again, I still don't have the tool. If you are offended by screwdrivers, look away now. I'm going full 70s. There we go. That is absolutely fine, by the way. I'm just hoping maybe dirt and that just doesn't quite get in there. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just put a little bit more grease around these ends, just to, I don't know, maybe keep the water at bay. But this bike's never going to see any water, you know, because I'm never going to, I'm going to ride it and it's going to be in the dry. Just giving us a wee wipe back to just stop gritting that sticking in. Right, I haven't gotten anywhere with this shifter, it's still tight. This is the front derailleur shifter. I don't like taking shifters apart because you just end up with a can of worms, but I'm going to have just to take a wee look and see if there's anything obvious in here. There we go. God, look at that mechanism in there. Isn't that just brilliant? Let's see if we can get, I mean, I can't see how to get any more spray in it than what I'd already put on, but that's now working. Because that lever wasn't springing back, so you were kind of going up and then you do that, that would just stay back. But that's working great now. But we'll get that all in on the, probably, I think folk are going to be screaming out going, you should be using oil. Because usually when these things gum up, it's because the grease is dried out. What I'm going to do, I've got grease on the sliders, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some oil, hopefully down, this will go down where it pivots. You know, because I don't think the grease will go in there and that will be dry. That is my thinking. I'll go up, oh, there we go. Well, that actually went into place very easily. These weren't as bad as I thought, actually. I thought these were going to be a pain to take apart, but again, I mean, obviously these are a Shimano product, nothing to do with Raleigh, but obviously they were sticking good stuff on their bike back then. I was about to say on an affordable bike, but Jesus, as I say, I don't know what, £300, 35 years ago. I mean, this has got to be like an £800 bike, surely. I wasn't going to show this or film it, but, you know, I just thought, you know, if you're not used to it, this is your gears. So that's going down, see it jumping. It's just enough, because this roller, this barrel here with the slots on it, the ratchet on it, is always under tension trying to go the other way. And all you're doing is, with the downstroke, you're just lifting it enough to skip over one. So it'll just jump down one. Like that, and then this is you going back up. See, moving it, click, 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 top, and then go back down. And of course, if you suddenly hit up to down, you can go several. See, a couple of strokes, and both you're right back up. But that was actually not coming down; it was lifting up, which means nothing would work. You go one way, and you wouldn't go back the other way. So there you go. I've decided I'm not going to put V-brakes in it after all. Reason being that the brake levers that are on the bike are geared up for cantilevers and they throw differently. And in my mind, I didn't realize that the shifters were the same. I thought they were not all in one units. I thought they were separate. So my plan was to put a set of adjustable LX brake levers on for the different throw. But that's turned out not to be the case. And I don't want to change the original shifter. So I've kind of just, yeah, it's just, I'm just going to go with what I've already got. Is the bike is, you know, the bike's quite original. So I think I'm just going to, you know, and I haven't got any immediate plans for it, for upgrading it or anything. So I think it's probably best I just leave as is. See, it just all looks, see how good it looks in there. As I'm doing this build, the last build obviously is online on YouTube, and I've had lots of great comments. So if you have got comments, I want to shout out to, sorry, I can't remember your username. It was Moo and then some numbers. If you want, go to my Cannondale video and check it out. He gave me an insanely concise breakdown of everything. Not so much that I got wrong, but just maybe better ways of doing it, or elaborating on things. So shout out to you for because I have to say it must have taken you a while to do. So thanks for that, and definitely go and have a look at it. I might actually do a video on that bike again. In that we'll just go through the comments and I can point out all the things that I just didn't really get right. Right, I'm just going to go in the middle hole on these because that is usually correct. Spring into the hole. There we go. Oh, that one went in nicely. Yeah, they're all fine. Screws back in. Yeah, you should put a wee dot of thread lock on these, but as the chances are, at some point in its life, I will be revisiting this bike, possibly for a more pimp upgrade. So there's no point thread locking them in, but you should do that. Although I don't find they ever come slack. I think the trouble is threads get a little bit corroded, and that's as good as. Right, that's that done. Sorry peeps, I forgot to press record. All I've done though, greased up the bottom cup, crown thing, put the bearing on, and I was just having the conversation with myself whether, because of the, see normally I would have said that bearing would go that way, but because of the type of shield it has, that wouldn't work, because see, that'll still work when it's in that way, but that side there, because of the cage, wouldn't work the other way around. So I'm giving myself on good authority that that is the right way around, but we'll see. Right, let's get this in. Yep, that feels smooth as. So more grease. Suppose it. This will do the threads as well. And now is this one going that way? No, that will be going that way. That's it. Then we've got the cup, which I would like to grease up, but right, this is not the way it goes on. I'm putting this on, it's just so I can put grease on it while I'm holding the whole thing up. That's all that this is about. But if you want to go down in the comments and shout, that's great, because that's all interaction. It helps the channel. Right, down we go. See, I wish I bloody kept no. See, I could have sworn that bearing was the other way around. That's probably what you lot are shouting out. I think that was in that way, because I'm sure when I did, I could see all the balls. I'm still not sure about the other way. I'm going to see how this feels, but I might switch the other one round as well. Or I know what I'll do when I'm editing this video. I will then know, because I'll see myself taking it off. Do you know, I cannot get a purchase on this because my hands are so greasy. No, that feels good. Okay, that's interesting. Get to the point. That feels fine. No play. Oh, burp. Put the lock ring in. And now we have perfect. But what I'm going to need to do is do that and then lock it off. Where's my adjustable? You can't have too big adjustables. Nope, that just makes it. So that feels. That feels all good. We got a win-win. Well, we got a win. Time for the stem to go back in. You know what? I am not going to clean all this up. This is 35-year-old grease and it's absolutely perfect. No corrosion, nothing. It's how bikes were made. I don't even know if they're that good now. So we're going to drop that down. Again, my original plan was to change all this, but you know what? I'm going to keep the bike original a little bit longer. A little bit longer on one. You know, just do what we need to do. Some things are unavoidable, like the tires. What we really need, if I get a set of tan walls on this bike, would be good, but I don't think I want to spend that kind of money because they seem to be quite pricey on a bike I'm not really going to ride. So I may just put just a normal set on. I really got that wrong, the angle of that. But I have got a brand new toy that I will show you later, which you'll be impressed with, from AliExpress. So I'm not going to go crazy on that because we're going to come back to that. This one's going to need a little bit more work. Everyone's feeling a bit gummed up. And I'll be honest with you, I don't recall coming across a derail. I mean, I'm sure I've worked on these derailleurs before, but being held together with a nut. Not a nut, but it's got a nut type head on the bolt, on the pulley wheel pivot. That I've not come across. But again, that's how it was in the times. Ooh, yeah, this definitely needs a, maybe that was the way to do it. It all pops off, yeah, nut out. That was obviously the winning stroke. Give it a clean, just let that soak in. Yep. Way more better. Hashtag bike farmer. And there is a little bit gunge going on in there, but I'm not stripping this thing down. What we can do is just put a bit of lube where it needs to be. Alright, so I got a tip from a subscriber who said don't use grease inside the jockey wheels, better use an oil so that it doesn't like trap dirt, etc. I don't know, see, I'm thinking that the grease might keep the water out, which might be a better idea. So I'm kind of a bit out to lunch on that one. I mean, it's like anything, everyone's going to have different ways of doing stuff. So it's a case of, you know, you do your way. I always appreciate the feedback because it gives me now the option whether I think, you know, I might do it this way. Now, I think another thing to remember is, yeah, if you're doing your bike often and you're maintaining it often, then yes, probably the oil is a better way. There's less drag, etc. But I think if you're not doing it very often, then maybe going with the grease might be a better idea. Again, down in the comments, what's your thoughts? You know, I like to interact with the comments. A lot of the viewers have certainly got more experience than I. Oh. Lathering. I was about to say the next guy, but the next guy will most likely be me. If I do decide to come back and fully modernise this, I don't know if I ever will. I seem to be getting up a bit of a collection of classic bikes, and this is possibly not the best of them. So it would definitely be a nostalgia trip. So we're about here off the 1,000 subscribers, guys. So, you know, I have really not got many to go. So if you could just give us a subscribe, get me over the 1,000 subscriber count and get me properly monetized, that would be absolutely awesome. And certainly there's always just a straight up like. And if you're really feeling flush, then you can always super thanks me. I think it starts from about £2, you know, which is about $250. There we go. This has come together. Did we get this? Yep, this has already been done, so we can put that on. There we go. So, tyre. Now we need to think about tyres, because these ones are definitely roached. They actually do hold here, but as you can see, the walls are they're all cracking bad. I did have a look into getting some tan walls, but to be honest, as I'm not really going to be cycling this bike, I didn't kind of want to spend any money on new tyres for tan walls, because you're looking at £30 for a pair of basic ones. But what I do have, which I think will be actually very fitting to this build, I got them a while ago, I can't remember where, new old stock. They're actually Raleigh tyres. They've got the Raleigh labelling on them. Very faded, as you can see. Probably been sitting in a bike shop window sometime. They're actually very reminiscent of, do you remember the Raleigh tyres? Sorry, the chopper tyres with the red pin line, but the tread is not the same. They don't have that same tread. But these are 26 by 235, so quite a chunky tyre, although depending on how chunky when they're on the bike. But I just thought, you know, actually, these are actually quite nice tyres, and these would actually go, because it's a Raleigh tyre going on a Raleigh bike, even if I don't use it, and the nice little pin line will kind of work in with the orange, not entirely, but will actually be a nice little feature. I think probably the best way to get this on quickly is just to hit it really hard. And if I just slam the tyre in, it will work. Let's have a go. Oh, well, that worked well. Wait a minute. That's not the same tyre. So what happened is I put this tyre on originally, and I won't lie, it weighs a ton. I don't know what it's for. It weighs a ton. It is incredibly fat for a 135. Would not fit on the frame. Tried to put the weight, it was just not even close. So what I'm saying is, tyre widths are not always the same across brands. So a 235 or 2.35 in one brand is not the same as another. So I had to take all this back off. I had another spare tyre, another budget one, also a 235, except for this one does actually fit. Not by much. As you can see, it is actually quite a fat wide tyre. So if somebody is thinking of running this off-road, they could lower the pressure right down, and this is going to be cushy as. But I'm going to use it as just now. It's got a little bit of a period thread on it. I'd like to have had the red wall on it, but it's just not going to be a thing. So we'll go with this one. We'll get the front one done now. Right, let's see if we can get away with this again. I've got to get a tire, make sure I've got rotation right. You ready? 1, 2, and 4. Oh, there you go. That worked again. God, I tell you what, I've been changing tires completely wrong. Now the moment of truth. See if we're going to get any issues here. Drop out. Feels good so far, but got out with that in the past, that's for sure. Ooh, right, I've just nipped it up. Right, we're getting a wee rub somewhere. Touching the frame. Absolute minuscule amount there. Wobble in the wheel. What I think I might do is I might take the wheel off, straighten it, or just make sure it's completely straight. But what I might have to do is I might have to redish the wheel, which is essentially slattening, tightening all the spokes, and what it'll do, it'll pull the wheel over to one side. My rudimentary truing stand, definitely not the best in the world, but if you want to spend 15 quid, it will do the very basics. But what I'm going to do actually while we're here, because I noticed the spokes were starting to corrode, putting a little bit of oil on each spoke where the spoke goes into the nipple, and then when it goes through to the wheel. Right, I'm going to give it a wee spin just to centrifugal, you know what I mean, spinny thing. Right, so that's pretty damn close. I'm going to put it back in the bike and see where we are. Still got a very slight, you hear it? I mean, it's probably just the way the tyre is seating. I could probably let the tyre down, pump it up, and it'll probably move across. Because it's just a lot of work to redish the wheel, but it won't need to go by much, and you know what, we'll just get it done. Right, so the purpose of the redishing is I want to have it where the centre of the wheel is going to stay central on the bike, but the actual dish, the rim of the wheel, we're going to pull it over this way. And the way you do it is you just slacken and tighten off each one. So this is an outside spoke, so this one gets slacken, tighten, slacken, tighten, and you can literally just go around the whole wheel. Just give it, say, quarter of a turn would probably do it, and then you can see where it is and then retrue it. So that's what we're going to do. Right, so this one needs to be slackened, so we'll go, say, quarter slack, quarter tight. Right, let's try it in the bike. Right, took it out, redished it, and we are there. Wheels true, not rubbing. Where's my thumb? Whoa. We're working slightly out of sync on the reassembly side of things because I've painted the chain rings but I need to wait until they're completely cured so before I start assembling. Otherwise, I'm just going to take all the paint off them. As you know, we would normally not even have the back wheel on. We'd have put the chain ring set and the cranks and all that on first. But as I can't put that one on, and we were true in the back wheel is on. So we can start reassembling the cockpit, start doing the cables and sort. As I say, it'll be slightly out of sync, so I'm putting the original grips back on, as I said before. Everything tallied up. We'll do the usual IPA. A little tip I came across actually of a YouTuber that's literally, I think, just come online, only got a few videos, and he said hand sanitizer, which makes a lot of sense because hand sanitizer is just IPA, although it's got a bit of gel and stuff in it, but it all evaporates. And I thought, oh, you know, people don't probably have IPA lying around, but you'd always have sanitizer. Put the grip on it, and you can put the bars on, put on the, yeah, put the grips on. Can't wait to show you my new toy that I just picked up. And I've been wanting one of these for a while, kept forgetting to order it, but I finally ordered it and I actually like it so much. I actually ordered two. So I've got one that I'm keeping for here in the workshop, and the other one I'm taking to the bike library. I'm going to use the original outers because they are in very good condition and they are very good quality. So to give them a bit of luster, we'll just give them a bit of GT85. Also, it'll protect the ends as well because I noticed some of them were just starting to corrode. Bit of oil on first. Look. Starting to get a bit low. Yo. Right, now. That's interesting. So normally you always have the slot going along the bottom. These don't actually have that, which is interesting. So it looks like we've got to poke it through. Hook it in. Different way of doing it. Just that way. The adjuster doesn't screw, well, it screws in but not actually held in. So we'll give that a wee twizzle until it locates. And then the outer actually will keep it in place. So what I'm going to do, we'll get this on now. I'm going to make sure we've got oil on the cable because it's going to be going through the bars. I think when I actually had the bars off, I did run some oil into this. There's like an internal tube inside there. I'm pretty sure I actually noticed that and oiled it. Right, and that will go down to the front brakes. Yep, that all feels sorted. Let's do the next one. I had to come, thought I was going to get it through. I think I forgot to press record, so I don't know what you've already seen. Because I've started to put it back together and then I realised this one on. Because I've noticed, and I've not come across this before, but I don't know if you can see that. But this outer's got like a little step on it, which doesn't seem to be consistent. And I can't remember seeing it when I took it off, so I'm not honestly sure where it's meant to be. I did have a look at the pictures I took before I did it, and it did show some of those connectors being down at the frame end rather than up at the shifter end or the brake end. So we're kind of going with that at the moment. Right, so that's front shifter. We'll need to get a cable in the rear shifter. Now, oiling the shifters, I had a great comment on my last video, and the guy was saying that he says don't oil the cables outside of the housing, and his reason was that it will attract dirt and then could cause you problems, which is actually, when I think about it, is actually quite true. It may well do that. I tend to oil the whole cable because these cables I use are actually galvanized cables, they're budget cables, so I kind of do it so they don't rust. And that's what I see when I see bikes at the library, rusty cables on the outers. And of course, once they start rusting on the outer, like where they're exposed, the rust just gets dragged inside as well. For you guys at home, it's good that it just gives you another option of what you might want to do. You might want to consider not oiling the whole cable, maybe just oiling it where it goes in. And there are cables out there, by the way, like really good quality ones that are coated, which in theory don't need any lubrication at all. So they're maybe the ones you might want to consider, you know, not oiling. I'm going to continue because, as I say, these are galvanized cables. They're not super duper ones, so I think they do need it. I think they will need to be lubricated down whole length to stop them corroding. And most of the bikes that we get at the library, folk are using them on road, so there's not lots of dirt and debris getting kicked up, or even dust, because let's face it, it's Scotland. So I'll keep doing it, but again, thanks for leaving that comment and pointing that one out, because it gives other users another option. Because remember, we had that little discussion about somebody reached out and said that he greased his cables, and I just was not sure if that was a thing. But again, I put it out there so you have the choice. Right, this is all looking organised-ish. Pretty sure that's how it all came out. It does look very different though. I mean, this will all be functional, but I don't remember the cables being crossed over like this. They will be functional, and as long as it can steer. Right, let's move down the bottom end. So rear brake cable. I never took this out or off actually, I just left it on. Right, let's get out of the way. While we're at the rear, we may as well run the rear derailleur while we're here. So want to run it through the crotch, but always put a little bit of lube on there first. Just let that run in, especially the front derailleur, because that's definitely got a hard corner to make. There we are. So we'll stick that on the now. I've really gotten this one not in a good order. There we go. Outer at the ready. So let's feed that through. A bit of twist. They're reluctant to get through. And pop this through here. There you go. As we're doing everything out of sync, we may as well just continue out of sync. So there's no cranks on it, no front derailleur, no chain, and now we can do the front tire, which normally we would be doing right at the end, but what the hell. So very slight change, because I have picked up some of these, because these are becoming a little bit of a pain in the arse. So I picked up some of these and we're going to fit them on. It's a slightly simpler system, because the main brake line just comes down, goes out, and then goes out the side, so they're a lot easier to put on and adjust. So we actually take all this off. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do this on the back, because I've already cut the main brake cable down, unless I quickly just stick a new one in. And then that makes the bridge all in one. Right, let's hope that is not a problem. Now, this should, that little kink is unfortunately going to make it a little bit tight. I mean, once it's set up it'll be fine, but it's going to make it a little tight for threading through. So that can go in there, and then that way now, yeah, I can literally tighten up like a conventional V-brake on this side. Although I've just noticed one slight problem. You see that is very close. That, I don't know if that will be a problem or not. Oh, there's all my spanners. Oh, I could do with a ratchet set of spanners, I really could. Right, definitely need to nick that up a bit more. Right, let's see how that feels. There's a lot of travel on that. Also as well, that side doesn't go back very well. Ah, right, okay, I think I see the problem now. That's actually tapping the tyre. So what I need to do is I need to adjust the brake block. So it is an adjustment here. I don't remember slackening any of this off, so it is a bit odd that it's gone out of whack. Yeah, that's better. I could probably nick it up a wee bit more, but actually the sleeving on the other side, you can see that, that's as far as it will go. Actually, a lot of it's to do with that little kink that's there. I could probably just pull more of that through. It's going to be a better idea. I need one of those tools, you know, the ones that puts the tension on the cable while you tighten. I think Park Tool do it. I can't remember what it's called, but it's at times like that. Oh, right, I have gone from hero to zero. And I actually have to let a little bit out. There we go. Right, there we go. I'm not getting a lot of movement on that other one though, that is the only thing. Oh right, you've got the adjustment screw on that side, okay, right. I can see the point, you do only really need it on one side, but it's handy having both sides. Oh, there we go. Bloody hell, they're working perfect. They're actually working really well. So we'll call that a win. In fact, you know what, I'm going to snip it, and we'll put ends on later on. We have the adapter. I don't know what you would call this thing. I don't know if it would be an adapter. You can slot that through. There's one thing actually I forgot to do in the front one is it goes through at a bit of an angle, but there's actually like 2 slots. So I think once we're all hooked up, I need to move it onto the other side. Slot all this through. Right. I don't know what happened to the rear reflector on this bike actually, whether I took it off recently or not. But obviously with what, although this wouldn't be so, I mean if the brake snapped on this side, if this cable snapped, then it would lock the back wheel up, which I suppose is, I'm not saying it's doable, but probably less catastrophic. And say just move that cable round, there we go. Let's see what that feels like. Yep, that's feeling good. Right, let's see now. Right, so we're not getting a lot of pull on the other side. So let a little slack off on this side. I mean, it's probably, yeah, I think we're about there. Julio, we'll cut that one off. I need to find some ends in with some copperies. Just stop them sticking in the future. You can use normal grease, but copper grease is the best. Easier doing it this way, sticking it on the socket. Go. Not forgetting wee plastic caps, often forgotten. Right, I got the front derailleur all fixed. All it turned out to be was the return spring had kind of gotten round its little, there's like a little bit that sticks out that the spring hooks into. It had just gotten onto the wrong side of that and it was sticking it. And then once it was under tension, the play that I kind of had before, everything's just completely gone. Right, as always, right, so we're too high up. Want to get that 2-3mm gap. There we go, and as usual, that in a line with that. So we now get all the cabling sorted out. I had actually some great tips in the comments for derailleur adjustments, so for those that took the time to leave a comment, that was great, appreciate that. There we go, it just goes in the back of that. Now I'm not going to go crazy on this because we'll no doubt have to come back and adjust this, so I'm not going to clamp it to the point where it's crushing the cable, because we'll need to check how much space we're going to have in here for the chain to go through, but at least that's it on. I won't lie, this derailleur has always been quite stiff. I don't know why, because I mean that's been fully serviced, new cabling, shifter completely serviced, there's no reason, but it is just tight. Don't know whether it's the style, you know, maybe it's just the amount of leverage that it's got. Right, we'll get that snipped off. Original chain is going back on because it actually has had very little wear on it. I must have looked after it. So this can go back on, no problems. It would be nice to have a nice fresh one on, but you know what? We're not going to do that because I might end up being tempted to rob it and use it on another bike build. That's probably what would happen if this was sitting there. Let's join this. Now if you remember, I managed to get this brake good, so I've got plenty pin to allow that to clip back in. I've probably got more pin than I need. Yeah, I remember it now actually, it was quite tight coming off. Oh, there you go. See, that just clips in nice and then we can just bash that through. Because we've got to screw it in from the back and then go in with front. I just find the other one just simpler, you just whack it in there. Because if you don't do that on this one, I've already broken one, and Feedback Sports were great, they just sent me a new one, but best just not make that mistake in the first place. Let's run the cable through, get that tightened up. Let's just check we've got, so we obviously want that adjustment all the way in, out a bit. And that will give us the float we need for adjustment. Right, let's see how that... Sorry, unfortunately I forgot to press record when I was doing all my fine adjustments. So we... Oh. So that's just going up to top. And then same here, we're at the bottom, we've got middle. Ooh, right, I need a wee adjustment at the back there. It's all shifting, but we're definitely, it should be up there. So we just need a wee bit more tension here. I'm noticing everything's a bit tight on this shifter, on the shifting, so I don't know whether that's where the problem is. Just doesn't, something's just not happy. You know, it's going okay there. I don't use my imagination. Oop, it won't help being in there. I think it's just a noisy drivetrain. To me it feels like, although I'm very cross-chained because I'm on the big one here, so maybe if I drop down the small one, yeah, so that's a bit quieter. That's probably just being cross-chained. And it's an old drivetrain. I keep forgetting that. This thing's not new. Now, I wanted to go like a big flat pedal, but I just couldn't find anything that looked right. Didn't want to put plastic ones on. So the only thing I kind of have in my box are these metal ones, which are kind of like the original ones that were on it, but without obviously the with the toe strap. So I'm gonna put these on just now. Probably will change them because I can only imagine they won't feel great. Oop. But I'll just put these on so I can try the bike. We'll see how we're sitting. And I can just keep an eye out for a bigger set. And there we go for another quick restoration on my 21st birthday present. It was good to get it out. I actually had a wee ride on it. It actually rode surprisingly comfy, and I have to say it actually rides better than my cheap bike build off Saracen. I have to say that actually does hurt my arms when I ride it. This was actually quite comfy, but we didn't spend any money on it. Obviously some new cables, couple of fittings and stuff, and we were pretty much good to go. And it's come out well. I am sad that I did allow it to kind of get a little bit worse, because if you'd seen this bike just a matter of 2-3 years ago, there was no rust or anything on it at all, and sadly I've allowed that to happen. You can clearly see where the paint is better quality. So in the blue areas is where all the corrosions appeared, and here there is nothing. There's clearly more paint on there, obviously things like white primer, etc. But it was nice to see how Raleigh actually put bikes together back in the day, and they're definitely nowhere near as good as they used to be. And obviously when they stopped making them in Nottingham. And I would like to say actually, on a caveat of the Raleigh bike, I only really had an issue with the adult ones. The kids bikes actually were okay and definitely seemed to be built to a better standard, probably built in a different factory in China. They're probably just Raleigh just clearly outsourcing here, there and everywhere. So if you are looking for a bike, any of the kids ones actually seem to be okay. So we're very close to the 1,000 subscriber count, and I can get the channel fully monetized. So if you could give me a sub and a like, and just down in the comments any of the things that you've seen me cover on this video, if you could like just give me a wee comment on it, things that I've done wrong, because a lot of you guys have been commenting on the videos, which are great, telling me where I've gone wrong, ways that I can improve, which is absolutely awesome. So if you can do that, that would be absolutely great. I was trying to get the videos out every week, but it's just not happening. So it looks like it's going to be a bi-weekly thing, because I just run out of time. It takes so long to do a bike and then to edit the videos, etc. But as usual, I will see you on the next one. Bye.